Canada's position on ISIS. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. Next week, the Trudeau government will announce their plans for dealing with the terrorist group ISIS, our contribution to the international coalition. According to the Globe and Mail, the plan will include pulling the CF-18s from the bombing mission and potentially doubling the number of special forces training Kurdish fighters to 150, and may even include sending a battalion of 500 to 1,000 soldiers to the region to do more general training. Well, Friday in Ottawa, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was giving nothing away.
Next week, you will be announcing the revised ISIS mission. Can you tell us, will the CF-18 jets stay in until the mission expires on March 31st? And also, will the new mission be debated and voted on in Parliament?
I know that Canadians, expressed themselves very clearly during the election that we have to continue to engage in the coalition against ISIL in a robust and responsible way, and I will be making announcements about that when the time comes.
But I wonder if Trudeau's defence minister and his parliamentary secretary to the defence minister are giving things away. I told you this week I have concerns about Defence Minister Harjit Sajjan, that he might be a good soldier, a good officer, but may not be the guy for the top job. Defence Minister is a tough job. It left former General Gordon O'Connor roughed up. It spat out guys like Art Eggleton, a former Liberal Defence Minister who had lots of executive experience before taking on the role. But as I listened to Sajjan's speech at Canada 2020 and drew my conclusions on what worried me, Chris Hall, one of the senior people at CBC's Parliamentary Bureau, was drawing different but equally fascinating conclusions. And I wonder if we'll see some of what Hall noted come out next week and how the government describes ISIS. Are they terrorists? Are they brutal thugs? Are they Islamic jihadis? Well, we can look for the Liberals to describe them as criminals. That's right, a group that has taken over large parts of two countries in a volatile region and done so in the name of their faith, or at least their interpretation of their faith, will be reduced to a criminal group. Sajjan hinted at this much in his speech to Canada 2020 last week as he was describing the Taliban in much the same way.
So we look at these groups from a terrorist perspective, but the reason I was successful in Afghanistan is because I looked at it from an organized crime network perspective.
Then, as Hall points out in his column at cbc.ca, Sajjan's parliamentary secretary, John Mackay, appeared on CBC's Power and Politics and said much the same.
You have to look at it with a different set of lenses, look at what the core issues are, that this is in fact basically a criminal organization with a religious veneer on it.
So really, ISIS is just a criminal group now? That's all they are? I know that progressives have been uncomfortable with terms like terrorists for a long time. Too often, progressives have bought into the claim that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. That's a bogus claim. Freedom fighters don't enslave women for the sexual pleasure of their fighters. Progressives have been uneasy with attaching Islam to groups like ISIS. Beyond the word Islamic being in their name, there's also the fact that they kill those who practice a different form of Islam or those that are of different faiths and refuse to submit to Islam. I'm worried that what's going to come out next week, well, we're going to see a plan that's more social science, less military. One that seeks to assuage Western white guilt more than fight the enemy that's before us, an enemy that threatens not only us, but peace in the Middle East and beyond. We have a government that says they want to make decisions based on facts, and yet when faced with the facts before them, when it comes to ISIS, they're going to ignore the facts. Well, actually, they're going to invent their own facts. They're going to redefine ISIS in their own vision. What we can expect beyond a military commitment is a major push to rebrand ISIS as anything but what they are, and that should concern and worry all of us. Without naming the enemy, we cannot fight the enemy, and without clear eyes and minds, we cannot win.